Guys, welcome back to the channel. I am running by like basically a multi-unit housing development thing right there, a lot of apartments. One thing I've been thinking about is how America is definitely becoming a nation of renters. I mean, definitely becoming a nation of renters. As they continue to print, housing just gets more and more unaffordable. It becomes harder and harder to access, harder and harder to get into. It's one of those things where if you don't have a decent credit score and an okay down payment to put down on someplace, you really can't get in. And, I mean, that's one thing I really like about crypto is you got $50, you can get in. Just sit there. I mean, over the last 10 years, that's been the place to be. Will it continue to be the place to be? I don't know. But I definitely think, over the last 10 years, it's clearly been the spot to be. But one thing I've been thinking through is like, are we going to become a nation of renters? Are we a nation of renters now? We're slowly moving there. Yeah. I mean, if we continue to have this inflation and we continue to allow companies like BlackRock to literally buy up residential family housing with the purpose of renting it, and the rent continues to appreciate as far as price goes, it continues to go up in US dollar prices, and as does the value of the homes. Yeah, that's totally screwing people over. Even if the value of the home crashes, but the interest rates go up to, post 1970s inflation, 18%. I mean, how many people are going to be buying homes at 18% interest? I mean, is that any better than renting? Buy a $100,000 home and you're paying 18 grand in interest a year. Well, that's like $1,200, $1,400 a month just in interest. You're almost better renting, right? So, it's sad. It's super sad. That's why I'm also like, I don't think that this is sustainable. I think one of the bigger trends that we're going to see here is the rise of multi-generational housing. And so that's something, if you're an investor type, if you really want to do well at this period of time, it's sad what's happening, but the masses are allowing it to just occur. They don't really even care. But it's just one of those things where it makes sense for grandparents to move in with kids and grandchildren. We're already seeing this, where you've got 3 generations under one roof, and I just think it's a trend. I mean, it's just, America doesn't produce anything, really. Like, we don't export anything. We import more than we export. You can't continue to spend more than you produce forever. Eventually, that game is up. And the costs at the end of the game, at the end of the musical chairs, when the music turns off, are going to be higher than most people think. And for some, they're going to become immensely wealthy by being able to access those markets, by getting in the game. If you're a young guy, you can house hack, man. There's so many ways to house hack. I lived in DC for $400 a month. I mean, then I had a spot inside the city for $200 a month that I would just bounce back and forth to. So I mean, these things are definitely options, but you gotta make moves. And so I would encourage you, just get to the spot where you can be making moves, because that's the best way to prevent getting wrecked in what's coming. Because as they continue to print, man, these elites just have no interest in making it an even playing field at any level. Like, they are full print mode, full buy it all. I don't think it's gonna end well, but that's just what we're at, man. We're in one of the craziest periods of history. So thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and as always, I will see you in the comments. So let's talk about the positive part of this. So America is becoming a nation of renters. What can you do about this? If you're a young guy, you can house hack for sure. I am totally about doing the van life thing. If I'm a young dude, if I have no commitments anywhere, I have no family to support, the van life makes sense. It doesn't have to be a van. It could be like an F-250 and a topper, but being super mobile and then going somewhere where I can learn FU skills so that I can make FU money in whatever I'm interested in. Because if you have a very low cost of housing and it's very mobile, you have options. And if you have options during this period of time, I think you do well. Because I don't think that this is a forever thing. This is just a momentary thing. It could be 20 or 30 years. I don't see anywhere in history where these type of things conclude quickly, ever. I mean, if you look at the 1930s, 1920s, which is what we're basically in. Money printing. Federal Reserve was created in 1913. There's a viral event in 1917. There's a depression in 1920. Interesting timelines. Quick though, because the Federal Reserve they didn't know enough at that time to do anything about it. And then you've got the Roaring 20s. You got 1929 stock market crash. You've got the 1930s. You have the 1933. The government comes and takes all the gold out of the banks, and et cetera, et cetera. You got hard times until about 1940. Late 1930s, the U.S. government's going, "Hey, Japan, we're not going to send you any oil. We're the biggest game in town. Saudi Arabia's not even a thing yet. Like, the oil comes from America at that point in time. Are we going to give it to the Japanese? Nah. Japanese go, "Hey, look, man, we're gonna have to bomb you if you do this. You know, we're gonna have to do something. We gotta do something. We need it." They're trying to become an industrial society. Prior to that, Japan actually had this like war going on inside the country, where the old samurai way of doing things and the industrialists have this thing. And anyway, Japan becomes an industrial nation. America's going, "Nah, I don't think so. No, we're not letting that happen." And they're like, "No, we're gonna have to do something." And then anyway, they do something, and then America's like, "Oh, we're the victims. Oh well, guess we're going to Germany now." You know, so it was one of those things where the elites at the time wanted it, and that's what we did. So what can you do at this point in time when the elites in your country don't want you to own housing? You don't need to. Get a sailboat, get a van, partner up with some buddies and grab some land out somewhere. If you got vans going on, you can go work for a rancher and learn that game, and then build audience, and then buy land. There are dudes out there right now that are like, "You know what? I don't really want to go mess with that, but I'd like to have the privilege of going to a spot where I have the option to potentially, you know, post up at some ranch land." I bet you could raise a ton of cash and turn it into a business. I'm literally considering this. I'm considering doing like a storage lot in the next year or two, maybe, if it works out, if I can raise the cash for it, because I think the cash flows on it would be phenomenal. But then, like, bigger, I want to do like a multi-thousand acre ranch, and then do it like through an NFT, where I'm like, yeah, if you're an NFT token holder, like, you've got access to this ranch. That's just kind of like one thing I'm thinking through. You're like, what areas are you looking at? Montana, but Wyoming, more so Wyoming, U.S. based. And then I really love Mexico. I've been there a bunch of times. I love Mexico. Oh man, I love the mountains of Mexico. There's so much good stuff happening in Mexico, man. I'll tell you that. But anyway, you got a house hack, and you got to wait it out. And if you've got to, you know, the smartest thing you can do is save up cash and get a duplex and rent one side and live in the other side. Cool. Grab roommates if you're in that position. There's so many things you can do, but you just have to. It's never been easier. I mean, it really, truly has never been easier to be successful in today's world. It's just harder than it was. It's totally doable. If you want to make this happen, you can do it. And I totally support you guys doing it. So anyway, thank you for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you for being here. And until the next video, see you in the comments. Peace.